Hi everybody, it's Peter Doyle here, Precision Grit Golf. Hope you're all keeping well. Tonight we're going to talk about iron heads. What type of iron heads should you use when you go to start playing golf, or maybe you're the type of guy you played for a while and you're transitioning into sort of mid handicap, or you could be going from mid to low handicap. So let's have a look at the options that are available to you. Okay, so like you said, you probably have been in a situation where you went into a store and you've looked at a wide variety of clubs and you're thinking, I like that brand or I like that brand. But have you done your homework to determine what is actually those heads are made from? What are they constructed from? Okay, so usually when you're starting off and you're playing golf, you will discover that because I suppose high handicappers make up a very big part of the market. Okay, you will be using club heads that are typically used from made from stainless steels. Stainless steels are um, cheaper to manufacture. Okay, and obviously they perform a little bit cheaper as well. And the reason they do cheap is because with stainless steel, they're not manufactured in the same way as say a forged head, which we'll discuss in a few minutes. They would be investment casts. So it's a liquid metal that's poured into a shape. And by the time you break the cast open, it's roughly looking like what it's going to do by the time it's presented to you. Okay. By the time they stick the medallion in, it looks nice and shiny. They tend to be made from like things like 17-4 stainless. They can be made from 431 stainless. There's a wide variety. There's even some exotic stainless steels which end up in some of these premium irons. And they claim that they can be like forged stainless. You can't forge stainless steel. So no matter what it says, you can't forge stainless. Anyone says you can, you're still going to end up with a face and an iron which is going to be hard and it's going to be fast. And the ball will tend to fly off the face. So if you see some pro using an iron that looks the same as yours, but yours is stainless steel, yours is just a replica of it. It's not the same thing. Okay, pros will use forged heads because they tend to spin more consistently. They tend to spin a bit more higher, and the thing is, the distance control tends to be a bit more uh, repetitive over and over again, right? And when you're going to buy your starting off like your game improvement, if you are that type of player, you typically see cavity backs which are much bigger. Right? So there are two examples: very successful Wilson Dynapower and the Cleveland XL, which only came out. Obviously, very very beautiful club owned by Strixon. So once again, a lot of technology going into that. Okay, what you notice about the width of the two club heads and sole guys, the whole soles are quite wide, and that means the center of gravity is further towards the back of the head. It helps to promote launch. Okay, but once again, because these are stainless steel club heads, it is important that you get the right shaft in the iron, because if you don't get the right shaft in the iron, these will misbehave to some degree. You'll find that your ball will hit the green and tend to release away of it. And that is why pros don't use stainless steel. They want to use a softer metal because it tends to be more consistent. Okay. The other negative about stainless steel is that you can't bend it. You might be lucky to get 1 degree of bend, but that is at your risk, because there's a really strong risk that you will break the club head in trying to do so. So if you get fitted with the wrong lie angle, or someone has you hitting a bit of impact tape on the bottom and just saying, oh, there you go, you got out of the middle of the club, I would be paying more attention to the direction on the screen of where the ball is going, because that's going to be more relevant when you're on the golf course. That's what you want to know. So don't get sucked into seeing a piece of tape on the bottom of the club and go, oh my God, well done. You got in the middle of the tape. That's brilliant. Have a look and see where it's going on the screen. Have a look where it's going during the fitting, okay? But once again, stainless steel, a little bit faster off the face, tend to be low spinning, which means you will look more accurate. But when it comes to the crunch thing, which is basically the ball stopping on the green, that just won't happen. It will release a bit. Now, you can put softer shafts in to get the spin rate up. But by putting a softer shaft in, if it doesn't suit your speed, then you're going to have issues controlling the club face. So once again, shaft selection is imperative. It is really, really important. Okay, really important. Don't let anyone tell you differently, right? Moving on from super game improvement in stainless steel, there are some companies, like I said, who will produce heads um, that look like they're better players. So there are two examples here. Strixon ZX4, once again, a stainless steel design. It's a hollow body. Very, very exotic in terms of the steel that's used. Ball tends to come off the face with a bit of speed again. Very, very forgiving. But from address, it looks like a better player's club. Okay. Mizuno, like I said, JPX hot metal. Similar again. So once again, slightly more exotic in terms of stainless steel. But you can see these are geared towards players who run from high handicap down to maybe mid handicap. And you see the soles are still quite wide. Okay. But these would be engineered from metals that are a bit more exotic and a bit more expensive. I might add there. Okay, tend to be a bit more consistent as well. You find that the ball speed tends to be a bit similar to the super game improvement. But what you find is that your spin control and your yardages tend to be a bit better. So once again, an awful lot of research will go into these to ensure that that's what they do. Okay, when you're buying a set that's cheap and cheerful, you're buying something there's not a whole lot of thought in. Okay, but when you're buying something suddenly pushing over 12 or 1300 euro for a set, you know you're buying something that's premium and something that will actually behave in a consistent manner. Okay, you'll also notice with these guys is that you might get about a 1 degree bend out of these as well. You could try and get two, but the fact of the matter is a lot of these companies will make these iron heads in degrees that are upright, standard, and flat. -2 standard and +2 the whole time. So once again, make sure the fitting is correct. If I was starting off again and I was playing golf, like I said, I would actually consider going with something like this to begin with. I know it's a little bit more expensive, but what happens is you get more in terms of performance and consistency. So maybe there's 300 or 400 quid in it, but I can assure you over the course of a few years, it's money well spent if you want to try and get some level of consistency. Okay, really, really good products again from Mizuno and Strixon. We get on to forgings now. So we're getting on to what pros use. And the thing is, don't let anyone tell you differently. Pros will not use stainless steel because it's not consistent. Okay. It's grand when you're starting off to hit the ball straight. Okay. But the reason why pros use forgings is because they're made from a much softer metal, a more consistent metal. The example here, there's the Wilson blade that I use. There's the Strixon ZX7 which Shane Lowry would use. Okay. So once again, probably something like 1025C, which is carbon steel. Some of these Japanese variants could be like S20C or S25C once again. So if you're getting anything that's S25 or S20C, you're paying something that is Japanese, that's high end, that's the greatest steel that they use over there. Okay, we do another iron from a manufacturer called GMAR, and GMAR is a Swiss made iron head, and they use an even more exotic forging material. And we've had guys switch from a well known players brand who also do their own golf balls. You know what I'm talking about. We've had guys switch from that brand to GMAR because the spin control and the arrows control is just unbelievable. You would not believe how repetitive they actually are. Okay, people who are going to be using heads like this, guys, are probably guys who are now going from say mid-handicap and now thinking of going out to low handicap. I'm now looking for something that's a bit more consistent, and like I said, I want a bit more in terms of control. You can see the soles of these are actually quite narrow now compared to the other guys. And these are for people who tend to hit down on the ball. So once again, you have to be able to hit down on the ball. This does have a dual sole front and back, which means if you're a sweeper or you do hit down, that will accommodate you that way, right? But with your traditional blade, like I said, you have to be the type of golfer that hits down on the ball. It's to help you create consistent spin and create consistent ball speed. Okay. Um, don't ever be put off by using heads like these because once again, if you get the optimum shaft into your club and your hand-eye coordination is good, you can still enjoy a good level of consistency with these. There's I suppose a question you need to ask yourself is just how far do you take it in terms of buying a forgiving iron. If you buy a club head that is assembled correctly, there's no reason that you shouldn't be able to either use heads of this nature because once again, very, very consistent and very, very repetitive. Okay. The only thing I would say once again, guys, we've talked about these head shapes and what suits the handicappers, obviously with the really bigger, chunkier heads right down to these more streamlined heads at the end, right? But the shaft is everything in terms of how these heads all perform. Okay, as we said, with these better players' heads, they would start to be geared towards people who are using shafts that are a bit more stable. They want a bit more club face control. Okay, with those other clubs, you see they tend to put shafts in are a little bit more game improvementy to the extent they tend to be softer. But look, if you're the type of person that turns the club over, not a good feeling when you see your ball coming out low and left or flying high to the right because you don't have the right shaft in your club. Okay, so if you are transitioning to a point where you want to use something like this, make sure you do get fitted for the right shaft. Come and talk to your professional club maker because that's what our job is to do, is basically help you and guide you with your selection process in terms of the shaft and head. And like I said, I know we do get sucked in by the heads the whole time we do when we go in to have a look at stuff, but trust me, shaft once again, guys, is so important. Do not take it for granted. Okay. Pleasure talking to you all again. Like I said, if you need to contact us, please reach out to us by email, peter@precisefitting.com. Please like and subscribe to our channel, which is Precision Fit Golf on YouTube. And like I said, contact us on any telephone numbers that are listed on the website. Once again, have a great weekend and we will talk to you again soon. All right. Cheers. Bye bye.